हेलो बैंकर्स, वेरी वेरी गुड इवनिंग टू ऑल ऑफ यू. वेलकम बैक. सो आशा करते हैं आप सभी लोग काफ़ी अच्छे होंगे. सो इन दिस पर्टिकुलर सेशन वी आर गोइंग टू कंटिन्यू विद आवर डिस्कशन बेस्ड ऑन BFM Module A Unit Wise MCQs. Okay, so in our previous session where we already discussed two units, so these two are already done. So today we will start with correspondent banking, NRI banking, documentary letter of credit, and facilities for exporters and importers. Okay, so these are the three topics, and we'll enter into the ECB portion. Okay, then remaining we will cover in our upcoming session. Okay, so without any further delay, we will start our today's discussion. This question we have already discussed in yesterday's session. This was the last question, I guess, right? So, which one of the following conditions are required for a person to be resident individual of India? So, there are like two major laws. One is Income Tax Act 1961. Another one is FEMA 1999. Okay, so these they generally decide the residency or non-residency, right? So in this particular situation, if an individual in India, so he will be categorized as Indians, or at least 182 days in previous financial year. So this is the one condition. Another one is if an individual is in India for at least 365 days in last four financial year, right? So last four financial year means, let's say the current one is 2000, current financial year is 2024-25. So preceding 4 years, that will include 23, 24, then we have 22-23, then we have 21, 22, and 2021. So these are the total of these particular in preceding four financial year. If we live 365 days and more in India, so again will be categorized as resident individual. Okay, so both the statements are true. So any of these two conditions need to be fulfilled. Again, so either A or B will be right answer for this particular one. Again, so we need to satisfy any of these two conditions to be resident of the country, right? Next one, what are the major differences between NRE and NRO account? Sorry, NRO and NRE account, right? So these are generally part of correspondent banking. We already gone through that particular one. Okay. So NRE accounts, basically these like NRE and NRO both are generally for NRIs. Okay. So whenever we talk about NRI banking in India, so we have NRE, NRO and FCNR accounts. Three major accounts are there. In case of NRE accounts, earnings is generally from the their host country wherever they are living right now. Okay. So let's say there is a person who is currently living in US. तो यूएस में आपका जो जॉब के थ्रू या जो भी बिजनेस के थ्रू उनकी जो अर्निंग्स है, so that will be if they maintain an account with Indian bank, so that account type will be NRE account. Okay. In case of NRO accounts, so again for NRI, that person Mr. X, suppose that he have some rental income and other sources of income from India itself, ठीक है, तो वो आपका उसको मेंटेन करने के लिए they'll open an account with Indian banks, that is called NRO account. ठीक है, तो NRO accounts में जो earnings है वो कहाँ से, इंडिया से. NRE की जो इनकम है वो आपका सोर्स इनकम कहाँ से, जहाँ पे वो भी रह रहे हैं. ठीक है. थर्ड वन इज FCNR अकाउंट. इट इज अगेन सोर्स इनकम फ्रॉम अब्रॉड इटसेल्फ, जहाँ पे अभी वो करंटली रह रहे हैं. ठीक है. एंड इट इज द काइंड ऑफ फिक्स डिपॉजिट. ठीक है, फॉरेन करेंसी के अंदर आपका जो होता है. ठीक है. एंड देयर इज वन अनदर अकाउंट कॉल्ड SNRR अकाउंट्स. ठीक है. So we'll come to that particular one. That is generally for NRIs for their if they have some business interest in the country, right? So अब कुछ statement आपको दिए गए and you have to find out the correct statement here. So an NRE account can be used as bank account to transfer foreign earnings to India, to Indian rupee, where NRO accounts can be used as saving account to manage income earned in India by NRI in Indian rupee, right? So both are rupee accounts. First one, first statement is correct here. All deposits made to NRE accounts, including interest earned, are fully repatriable. This is also true because this earning source of earning is generally from foreign country, so it is on repatriable basis. Okay? So that means that NRI they can bring back that particular money to a US or जहाँ पे भी वो लोग आपका रह रहे हैं. ठीक है? NRO account have some repatriation limits as per FEMA or other act. ठीक है? All deposit in NRE account are free from income tax. Yes, because income tax applicable होगा कहाँ पे जहाँ पे भी वो लोग रह रहे हैं. ठीक है. However, the interest earned on NRE accounts, it is a subject matter of TDS deduction. So this is also true. ठीक है. So all the statements are correct in this particular situation. ठीक है. So you can expect one question based on NRE, NRO and FCNR accounts. ठीक है. तीनों टाइप के जो accounts हैं आपका ये and like repatriation and non-repatriation. So that is repatriation is allowed, fully repatriation is allowed in case of NRE and FCNR accounts, and there are some restrictions in case of NRO accounts. Transfer of money from NRO to FCNR, sorry, NRO to SNRR accounts is prohibited because like जो FC जो SNRR accounts है that is आपका कहीं ना कहीं इंडिया में बिजनेस करने के लिए, तो एनआरओ इंडियन इनकम से वो आपका उसको नहीं कर सकता, बट हाँ दे कैन रेमिट और दे कैन ट्रांसफर मनी बाय यूजिंग देयर एनआरई एज वेल एज FCNR अकाउंट्स. ठीक है, चलो आगे बढ़ते हैं. सो एनआरई अकाउंट्स और सेविंग अकाउंट इन विच एनआरआई कैन डिपॉजिट फॉरेन करेंसी अर्निंग्स एंड फ्रीली repatriate monies held in this account back to your country of residence. NRO accounts useful if NRI having some earnings in India, like जैसे आपका rental income है या any other source of income. ठीक है. An account that allow NRI to save money earn overseas in foreign currency. FCNR accounts आपका foreign currency नॉन रेजिडेंट अकाउंट्स की बात करें, दीज आर काइंड ऑफ टर्म डिपॉजिट, फिक्स डिपॉजिट की तरह करते हैं, एंड दीज आर जनरली मेंटेन इन फॉरेन करेंसी. ठीक है, तो जहाँ पे वो रह रहे हैं, लेट्स से if they are living in Europe, so Europe में इनको maintain किया जा सकता है. ठीक है, so that is the one. Next one about the SNRR accounts. Each of the following are the features of SNRR accounts except एक को छोड़ के आपका. So the balance in SNRR accounts shall be eligible for repatriation. Yes. क्यों होगा? Because NRI will when they'll start a business, they'll transfer money through NRE and FCNR accounts only. ठीक है. So ये दो sources आपके होते हैं funding के, and both are repatriable basis, right? Transfer from NRO accounts to SNRR accounts is prohibited. So this is a wrong statement here. All transaction in SNRR account will be subject to payment of applicable taxes in India because they are doing business in India. Yeah. SNRR accounts may be designated as resident rupee accounts on the account holders becoming a resident also, right? So we have to find out the incorrect statement, and the only incorrect statement in this particular situation is ऑप्शन बी. ठीक है, सो SNRR अकाउंट्स इनका यूज क्या है बेसिकली, इफ दैट NRI हैव सम बिजनेस इंटरेस्ट इन इंडिया. ठीक है, तो कोई भी NRI है अगर वो इंडिया में कोई बिजनेस आपका चलाना चाहता है या स्टार्ट करना चाहता है, सो उस बिजनेस की जो ट्रांजेक्शन है उन सबको आपका करने के लिए जो अकाउंट ओपन होता है. ठीक है, इट इज जनरली वैलिड फॉर 7 years. ठीक है, सो any person resident outside India who has a business interest in India may open SNRR accounts with an authorized dealers to carry out a genuine transaction in rupee that do not violate the provision of the act, rules and regulations made thereunder, right? So the features are like, this is very important one, guys. So I'll mention this, please do revise this. So the balance in SNRR accounts is eligible for repatriation. Transfer from any NRO accounts to SNRR accounts are prohibited. All transaction in SNRR accounts will be subject to payments of applicable taxes in India. SNRR accounts be designated as resident if that person become Indian resident. Opening SNRR account by Pakistanis and Bangladeshis nationals and entities incorporated in Pakistan and Bangladesh is subject to RBI permission. ठीक है? The SNRR account cannot be held for more than 7 years. Okay, so after 7 years from the date of account opening, no operation are permitted in this particular accounts. Okay, so these are very important features about the SNRR accounts. So please do take care about them. ठीक है? An NRI or a non-resident Indian or person with Indian origin can purchase share up to dash of a paid up capital of Indian company. So what is the percentage? 5%. Okay? So as an individual 5% or as a group whole 10%. So 5% and 10%. Do remember this one. Okay? An NRI or POI can purchase share up to 5% of the paid up capital of Indian company. All NRI or PIOs, person with Indian origins, taken together cannot purchase more than 10%. So this is the ceiling, right? Next one. A non-resident Indian can purchase each of the following on repatriation basis except, so what will be your correct answer? Unit of mutual funds? No, they cannot purchase unit of mutual fund on repatriation basis. It is generally on non-repatriation basis. Share in public sector enterprise? It can be. Bonds issued by public sector undertakings. Dated government securities or treasury bills, unit of domestic mutual funds. So these, like NRI, they can invest in these particular instruments, and they can repatriate that particular money to their होम कंट्री. ठीक है, जहाँ पे भी वो अभी रह रहे तो उन्होंने इन्वेस्टमेंट किया, और अगर आफ्टर सम टाइम दे विड्रॉ देयर इन्वेस्टमेंट एंड दे कैन गो बैक टू, दे कैन ब्रिंग बैक दैट मनी टू देयर होम कंट्री जहाँ पे भी अभी वो रह रहे हैं. ठीक है. So another one is like this unit of money market mutual funds, that is always on non-repatriation basis, right? So here we have this thing on a repatriation basis: dated government securities, treasury bills, bonds issued by public sector, share in public sector enterprises, disinvestment in all team. On non-repatriation basis, so we have these two. One is unit of money market mutual funds, and we have national plan or saving certificates. Okay, so these are always on non-repatriation basis. So please do take care about this. Next one. Which of the following transaction are prohibited for NRI? So these are the basically areas where they cannot invest their money, right? So purchase of agriculture property, plantation, and farmhouses, they cannot invest in this. Intraday trading in securities, short selling is not allowed. Trading in transferable development right trades is also not allowed. Okay, so what will be our correct answer for this one? All of the above. Trades is basically, it is kind of a small unit of a properties and all. Okay, so when properties, they come up with some kind of new project and all, builders and all. Okay, so they generally come up with for the fundraising, they generally issue some trades. So investment in trades is also prohibited for the NRIs, right? So these are the prohibited areas under which NRIs, they cannot make their investments. Okay. This is the wrong one actually. We already discussed that one. So next one. An NRI wish to invest in an Indian partnership company. Which of the following requirement must be satisfied for investment to be allowed to re-imported outside of India? So an NRI wish to invest in Indian partnership company. Which of the following requirement must be satisfied for the investment to be allowed to re-imported outside of India? So let's see the comments options. The firm must not engage in agriculture and plantation activities or real estate business. This we already test, so this is not allowed. The contribution should be from balance held in NRI, FCNR deposit, because they are on the basis of repatriation itself. The investment should be made in partnership firm engaged in agriculture. No. The amount must be invested by way of gift or note. So what will be your correct answer? A and B. A and B. That means B should be right answer for this particular one. Yes. So only A and B are the true statements. Rest are generally incorrect about this particular one. Okay. Next one. What drive the uses of correspondent banking services by a foreign bank? Basically, what is the primary objective and goal of correspondent banking? So, to obtain a foreign bank branches licensing at countries, no. So, correspondent banking, कल भी मैंने आपको इसके बारे में introduction दिया था. Like it is all about without opening the physical branches in the country, we are generally making some kind of tie-up with other countries' bank, and we are serving our domestic customers. Okay, so there is nothing like branch opening and all. So to take advantages of business opportunities without a branch network, this could be a right answer. To minimize operational cost for their existing branches, no. There is nothing like branch. To conduct business transaction exclusively in their home country, no. So what will be our correct answer for this one? Option B will be right answer for this particular one. Okay? So correspondent banking services are typically used by international bank to increase their market shares and carry out transaction in other nations without having open local physical offices. They can make use of current global network of correspondent banks by using correspondent banking. जैसे मैंने आपको कल एग्जांपल भी दिया था ना, that we have gone through that Nostro, Vostro and Loro and Mirror accounts. ठीक है, so that is a part of the correspondent banking. ठीक है, चलो, so this is like there was half part we earlier discussed in our previous session, and the remaining one we discuss in this particular one. ठीक है, चलो, so now we are going to enter in a new unit which is called unit number 4, LC, letter of credit. ठीक है, so documentary letter of credit, again very important unit, right? So that's a document that guarantees the buyer's payment to seller, so it is known as letter of credit. Okay? So letter of credit is basically, it is a kind of like we have that clause na, standby guarantee is part of this particular one. ठीक है, so letter of credit, I'll show you the entire movements and all. हमने बहुत डिटेल में इसको आपका डिस्कस किया है कॉन्सेप्ट क्लासेस के अंदर. So please do take care about this. You'll definitely get 2 to 3 questions based on this unit. ठीक है, और इवन जो इसके स्टेप्स होते हैं उनके ऊपर एक केस स्टडी भी कई बार आपका दिया जाता है. सो प्लीज डू टेक केयर. A letter of credit is a document sent from a bank or financial institution that guarantees that the seller will receive a buyer's payment on time or for full in amount. जैसे कैसे होता है, let's say there are two parties, one is a buyer and another one is seller, right? So let's say buyer belongs to India and sellers is from suppose that US. ठीक है, तो इनके बीच में let's say they entered into a sale agreements. ठीक है, तो आपका जैसे this buyer is agreeing to buy 1 lakh markers at the rate of suppose that the overall trade value is 5 million US डॉलर. ठीक है, एक 5 million US डॉलर का आपका ट्रेड हुआ जहां पे बायर आपका एग्री करता है मैं ये मार्कर आपसे परचेज करूंगा एंड सेलर इज एग्रीइंग ऑन सेलिंग दिस पर्टिकुलर वन विद दिस पर्टिकुलर वैल्यू. ठीक है, सो आफ्टर दिस अब ये देखो क्या है, दोनों अलग अलग कंट्रीज के अंदर आपके हैं. सो टू फैसिलिटेट दिस पर्टिकुलर वन और टू मेक श्योर कि इफ सेलर will fulfill the conditions as per this particular sale agreements, he'll get the payments. तो क्या होता है इसमें, आपका buyer will approach their bank. ठीक है, तो जो बायर का बैंक है, ठीक है, लेट्स से इट इज एसबीआई. ठीक है, सो दे विल आस्क देम टू इशू एन एलसी. ठीक है, वो क्या करवाएगा, एलसी इशू कराएगा एज एन एप्लीकेंट आपका. ठीक है, बायर विल बी द एप्लीकेंट इन दिस पर्टिकुलर केस. वो बोलेगा आप मेरे बिहाफ में एक लेटर ऑफ क्रेडिट. लेटर ऑफ क्रेडिट इज जनरली पार्ट ऑफ आर ऑफ बैलेंस शीट एक्सपोजर. ठीक है, दिस इज अ कंटिंजेंट लायबिलिटी इन बैंक बैलेंस शीट. तो यहाँ पे वो कहीं ना कहीं क्या कर रहा है, उससे आपका एक प्रॉमिस आपका जारी करा. तो एलसी एसबीआई क्या करेगा, विद द हेल्प ऑफ करस्पॉन्डेंट बैंकिंग इन दिस पर्टिकुलर कंट्री विच इज एबीसी बैंक. यूएस के अंदर उसका जो करस्पॉन्डेंट बैंक है एबीसी, उसको बोलेगा कि वी आर इशूइंग दिस पर्टिकुलर एलसी ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ दिस. ठीक है, तो जहां हम ये पेमेंट करेंगे, देन दिस करस्पॉन्डेंट बैंक विल कनेक्ट विद एक्सवाईजी बैंक which is a nominated bank of this seller. ठीक है, जो इसका जो nominated बैंक है आपका seller का, उसको. ठीक है, so that there is a agreement between SBI and this कि हाँ आप अगर ये सारी कंडीशन फुलफिल करते हैं, इफ यू फुलफिल ऑल द कंडीशंस which are generally part of the sale agreements, we will make you this much of payments even though if this buyer got insolved or any other things. ठीक है, अगर ये नहीं भी करेगा हम आपको पेमेंट करेंगे. ठीक है, so on the basis of this particular trust generally international trade happens, and the guidelines are generally issued by ICC, International Chamber of Commerce, through UCP 600. ठीक है, तो अभी जो आपका चल रहा है that is UCP 600 where we have 39 articles. तो ये हमने बहुत ज़्यादा डिटेल में आपका डिस्कस किए हुए हैं, ठीक है। तो अगर आप लोगों ने नहीं देखा है तो मतलब दिस इज अ लाइक, जैसे आपका एक्सचेंज रेट बिजनेस है, आपका दिस डॉक्यूमेंट्री लेटर ऑफ क्रेडिट है, फैसिलिटीज फॉर इम्पोर्टर एक्सपोर्टर्स है, ये कुछ ऐसे यूनिट्स है ना मॉड्यूल 1 के अंदर, IFSC है, प्लीज डू नॉट स्किप देम, ठीक है, बिल्कुल भी स्किप नहीं करना है। तो जैसे यहाँ पे आपका फॉर्मेट भी दिया है ना, जैसे बायर and there is a buyer and seller, there is a sale agreement between these two, ठीक है। So buyer is generally apply for the LC, ठीक है, एज एन एप्लीकेंट। इशुइंग बैंक आपका जैसे SBI हमारा था, ठीक है। सो इशुइंग बैंक विल कनेक्ट टू एडवाइजिंग बैंक और नॉमिनेटेड बैंक ऑफ सेलर, ठीक है। एडवाइजिंग बैंक एंड नॉमिनेटेड बैंक, it can be same or it can be different also, ठीक है। एडवाइजिंग बैंक is generally correspondent bank for this particular one, and nominated bank is basically which is get nominated by the seller itself, ठीक है। सो तीसरा आपका ये हुआ। चौथा, एडवाइज LC टू सेलर, ठीक है, देन प्रेजेंट आफ्टर द everything is done, like that sale agreements is done or shipment is done, so they'll present this particular one to this and they'll issue this one to this, ठीक है। Nominated bank present document to issuing bank, then issuing bank will make the payment, ठीक है। If documents comply with this particular one, so issuing bank will make the payment. So इस तरीके से there are around if you include those swift messages and all, so there are around 10 to 11 stages which are generally part of this particular one, ठीक है। चलो अब आगे बढ़ते हैं, नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन, विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग assertion regarding authorized dealers use of standby LC is accurate, ठीक है। देखो what is standby LC, there are some countries where financial guarantee is like they cannot have a word like financial guarantee in their documents or in their contract, ठीक है। country like US, UK and all, तो जहाँ पे मतलब इंस्टीट्यूशन दे कैन नॉट गिव एनी काइंड ऑफ फाइनेंशियल गारंटी, तो उसका रिप्लेसमेंट लाया गया जिसको हम लोग क्या बोलते हैं, आपका स्टैंड बाय लेटर ऑफ क्रेडिट। तो लेटर ऑफ क्रेडिट में हम लोग क्या कर रहे हैं, आपका बेसिकली वी आर मेकिंग श्योर टू सेलर कि इफ यूल फुलफिल दैट सेल एग्रीमेंट्स you will receive this particular payment, ठीक है। एंड आप जो स्टैंड बाय LC है दैट इज मतलब वो ये बोल रहा है कि इफ दैट बायर विल फेल मेक पेमेंट सो वी विल मेक यू दैट पर्टिकुलर पेमेंट, दैट इज द वन, ठीक है। सो स्टैंड बाय LC कैन बी established फॉर एक्सपोर्ट ट्रांजेक्शन ओनली, नो इट इज ऐसा कुछ नहीं है, LC पे लिंक होते हैं। स्टैंड बाय LC आर इशूड as a replacement of guarantee under FEMA 1999 एंड नॉन परफॉर्मेंस ऑफ सिचुएशन, बिल्कुल 100% सही है कि अगर बायर नॉन परफॉर्मेंस में जा रहा है सो बैंक विल मेक दैट पर्टिकुलर पेमेंट अंडर दिस पर्टिकुलर। स्टैंड बाय LC इज फॉर इंपोर्ट नॉट ओनली इंपोर्ट, एंड स्टैंड बाय LC कैन ओनली बी इशूड एक्सपोर्ट, नो। तो क्या होगा आंसर आपका, बी विल बी राइट आंसर फॉर दिस पर्टिकुलर वन, ओके। Sorry guys. So this is done, I hope. Please do take care about this. In case of non-performance, standby LC are provided in the place of guarantee under FEMA 1999. Bank are using standby LC as a promise document for non-performance circumstances. The guarantee that authorized dealers are allowed to provide under FEMA 1999 are replaced by these standby LCs. So authorized dealers, usually bank, are permitted to provide guarantee on behalf of their clients under FEMA 1999. These assurance are typically given to a beneficiary, जो भी आपका exporter है basically, ठीक है, would meet certain commitment, debt or liabilities. Authorized dealers have the option to issue a guarantee in place of the traditional one, ठीक है। तो कहीं ना कहीं मतलब ये जो टर्मिनोलॉजी हुआ ना LC वाला, मतलब स्टैंड बाय LC दैट केम फ्रॉम US और UK मार्केट इटसेल्फ, ठीक है, जहाँ पे फाइनेंशियल गारंटी इज नॉट अलाउड, ठीक है। मतलब बैंक दे कैन नॉट इशू एज काइंड ऑफ फाइनेंशियल गारंटी ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ अ कस्टमर, तो यहाँ पे उसका रिप्लेसमेंट हमने निकाल के दिया आपका ICC ने, दैट इज कॉल्ड स्टैंड बाय LC, ठीक है। which most recent revision of UCC uniform custom and practices for documentary letter is in effective now. So क्या होगा करेक्ट आंसर आपका UCP 600 which become effective from July 2007 itself. Right now guys, again this is the most important one, ठीक है. So you'll definitely get one question based on this one most of the time, ठीक है. Examiner इसमें से question आपको पूछते हैं, and there are total 39 articles which are generally part of UCP 600. And if you'll open your book, so we have like first UCP get introduced in 1934, and so far we have 6 amendments in this particular documents, okay. So UCP are generally issued by ICC, okay. So International Chamber of Commerce. These are some set of rules and regulations, okay. So मतलब basically क्या है आपका, these are some set of guidelines when two parties from different countries they are making some payment arrangements, ठीक है. So they can have a reference of आपका UCP 600. जैसे LC document आपका बना, तो in that particular LC documents payment term and conditions will be as per UCP 600. Then UCP will become kind of legal in that particular situation. Otherwise like it is, मतलब ये कोई ऐसा नहीं कि आपका आपको अपनानी ही अपनाने हैं, बट हाँ जो इंटरनेशनल ट्रेड में जो, क्योंकि हर एक कंट्री की ट्रेड पॉलिसीज या आपका जो पेमेंट पॉलिसीज होती हैं वो डिफरेंट डिफरेंट होती है, तो कहीं ना कहीं उनको हार्मोनाइज करने के लिए आपका एक सेट ऑफ स्टैंडर्ड बना के, and these are generally part of UCP 600. There are 39 articles which are generally part of this one. और इनका क्लबिंग दिया गया है, जस्ट गो थ्रू दैट पर्टिकुलर वन ऑल्सो, ठीक है, जो मैंने आपको कराया भी था, ठीक है. So UCP 600 is the most recent modification to UCPDC, Documentary Letter of Credit, which has undergone several revisions. At its meeting in October 2006, the ICC Banking Commission passed UCP 600, which went effective from July 1st, 2007. Since ICC first framed the standard in 1933, not 1934, sorry, ठीक है. So 1933. तो तब से लेके अभी तक आपका this is the sixth amendment. Okay. So UCP 600 are internationally rule published by the International Chamber of Commerce with aim to standardize international banking practices in relation to letter of credit. Okay. So this is the clubbing of articles. As I told you, like there are 39 articles which are generally part of this particular one, ठीक है. You do not have to remember all these, but हाँ मतलब आपके बुक के अंदर भी इनका इंडिविजुअल सेग्रीगेशन नहीं दिया गया, ठीक है. अगर आप लोगों ने नहीं खोला, बट हाँ दे हैव गिवन द स्क्रीनशॉट काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स जहाँ पे उन्होंने क्लब करके दिया है. सो आई रिक्वेस्ट लाइक बिफोर एंटरिंग इन योर एग्जामिनेशन हॉल जस्ट हैव अ लुक अबाउट दीज थिंग्स, ठीक है. So grouping of articles, आपका UCP 600 can be grouped under article 1 to 5, definition, interpretations, independence of LC and underlying contract. 6 to 10 is about availability, expiry date, place, obligation of issuing and confirming bank, advising bank. Yeah. Then 11 to 17, pre-advised credit, nominated bank, reimbursement arrangement, compiling presentation, original documents. Article 18, commercial invoice. Article 19 to 27, transport documents. Article 28, insurance documents. 29 to 33, extension, tolerance, partial and installment drawing, hours of presentation. 34 to 37, disclaimers. Article 38, 39, transferability and assignment of proceeds. Okay. सो द ओवरऑल रूल्स रेगुलेशंस, ठीक है. तो जब भी आपका एलसी कोई भी एलसी के अंदर आपका एंटर करेगा, ठीक है, इफ टू पार्टीज एंटर इनटू द एलसी एग्रीमेंट्स, सो दे हैव टू फॉलो और कंप्लाई विद दीज पर्टिकुलर रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशंस, ठीक है. तो इंटरनेशनल ट्रेड को स्मूथ बनाना वाज द ओनली ऑब्जेक्टिव ऑफ दीज पर्टिकुलर थिंग्स. अंडरस्टूड, क्लियर इतना, ठीक है. तो प्लीज आप इसको याद रखने की कोशिश कीजिएगा. चलो आगे बढ़ते हैं. Between a standby and a documentary letter of credit, which one of the following distinction exists? तो स्टैंड बाय और आपका डॉक्यूमेंट्री, एलसी और आपका स्टैंड बाय क्या है. तो एलसी इज द मेजर एग्रीमेंट, ठीक है. सो स्टैंड बाय वी जनरली यूज इन केस ऑफ नॉन परफॉर्मेंस बाय द बायर, ठीक है. तो एलसी में आपका दैट ओपनिंग बैंक, ठीक है, दे आर जनरली मेकिंग प्रॉमिस टू that advising bank or nominated bank कि if your customer, that seller, exporter who fulfill the conditions, so we will make you payment. So it is kind of an assurance. ठीक है. Standby is आपका मतलब that opening bank is saying कि our client will make the payment. Standby is like kind of things कि if our client insolve in that situation, or there is some non-performance situations conditions, so we will make that particular payment. ठीक है. So a documentary letter of credit is used to guarantee payments for goods and services, where standby letter of credit used to ensure fulfillment of contract. पहला ही सही है. और documentary letter of credit is used guarantee payments for goods and services, whereas this, unlike documentary letter credit, standby is cannot be revoked. Yeah. Bank issue a standby letter of credit, but buyer issue no. Documentary letter credit are issued by for the local no. क्या होगा आपका correct answer? A only will be right answer for this particular one. ठीक है. Please go through this. So a standby letter of credit is a form of assurance that bank offer to guarantee that a contract will be fulfilled. If the other party to the contract default, the standby letter of credit beneficiary may request payment from the issuing bank. Other party मतलब आपका जो buyer है. Although they can be used in domestic operation, standby letter of credit are frequently employed in international trade. ठीक है. तो जनरली आपका डोमेस्टिक ऑपरेशन में क्या होता है, मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम यू विल सी आपका से लोकल बैंक्स इन्वॉल्व होते हैं और इशूइंग, और लाइक मोस्ट ऑफ टाइम दैट ओपनिंग एंड नॉमिनेटेड बैंक्स आर सेम, तो इतना चैलेंज नहीं आता. बट हाँ, ऐसा हो सकता है कि डोमेस्टिक में भी यूज होता है, बट यूजुअली इनका सिंपल सा रूल है आपका, इंटरनेशनल में इनका ज़्यादा इस्तेमाल होता है. ठीक है. A letter of credit is a payment methods used to ensure payments for goods or services. The issuing bank agree to pay the beneficiary of letter of credit if the letter of credit receipt present the necessary paperwork. Although they can also be used in domestic transaction, documentary letter of credit are typically employed in international trade. A documentary letter of credit guarantee payments of goods and services, whereas standby letter of credit ensure contract fulfillment. Understood? So this line which help you out regarding this. Okay? Which kind of letter of credit offer the beneficiary a cash advances to pay for the production or acquisition of product that will be supplied under the documents team. So there is a documentary letter of credit that is known as red clause. Okay, it is called red clause LC. Okay? So please do remember this one. Okay? So red clause LC. So a red clause LC is a particular kind of LC that permit the beneficiary, exporter or seller, to get paid in advance before the item are shipped. The exporter benefit from this kind of LC since it gives financial support, so they can use for the preparation or export material. Okay? So red clause LC is a kind of an arrangement between buyer and seller. So where basically seller is getting some kind of advantages, जहाँ पे उसको क्या हो रहा है, he is getting some kind of advance, ठीक है, for the manufacturing or that kind of processing things and all. ठीक है. तो ये arrangement आपका again this is done through the opening bank and closing bank itself. ठीक है. तो वो लोग इसको arrange करके आपका देते हैं. तो जहाँ पे अगर exporter if he needs some kind of that working capital requirements and all, so that can be fulfilled through this particular one. ठीक है. चलो आगे बढ़ते हैं. Match the following. Next question, guys. Try with few things. आपका UCP 600. So a new version of uniform custom and practices of documentary which become published. तो पहले का क्या होगा, B होगा, ये तो श्योर हो गया. रिवोकेबल LC. सो क्रेडिट आज के डेट में जनरली नहीं होते हैं, irrevocables होते हैं. A new section of UCP 600 that include definition of key terms related to letter of credit. So definition and interpretations. तो दैट मीन्स इसका हो जाएगा आपका B एंड इसका आपका हो जाएगा A. ठीक है. डेफर्ड पेमेंट्स अंडरटेकिंग. अ न्यू सेक्शन ऑफ UCP 600 clarify obligation of banks when issuing deferred payments and this. ठीक है. तो इसका आपका D हो जाएगा. एंड तो इसके लिए क्या बचा हमारा, रिवोकेबल का क्या हो जाएगा, सी हो जाएगा, नो लॉन्गर। हाँ, सो यू रिवोक आज के डेट में सारे एलसी क्या होते हैं आपका, इरिवोकेबल्स होते हैं, ठीक है। सो इट इज नो लॉन्गर एग्जिस्ट इन यूसीपी 600, ऑल क्रेडिट आर इरिवोकेबल्स, ठीक है। तो ये इस तरीके से, तो क्या है सही आंसर, पहले का बी, दूसरे का सी, पहले का बी, एक ही से सॉल्व हो जा रहा है, पहले का बी, दूसरे का सी, तीसरे का ए एंड चौथे का दिस, तो डी विल बी राइट आंसर फॉर दिस पर्टिकुलर क्वेश्चन, अंडरस्टूड, बेसिक वन। चलो इनको पढ़ लेना आप लोग, ठीक है। सो यस, नेक्स्ट वन गाइस, which of the following claim about transparent papers is false under UCP 600, so sorry, transport papers under UCP 600 is false, ठीक है। ट्रांसपोर्ट पेपर्स के संबंध में आपका, ठीक है, सो इट इज लाइक समथिंग रिलेटेड टू डॉक्यूमेंटेशंस, ठीक है। So documentations provided by sellers at the time of shipments and all. So the name of carrier is no longer required to be listed on chartered party bills of lading. True. All transport documents must state the name of the carrier and uh, carrier and bear signature of the carrier or designated agent of the general standard. Which of the following claim about false, ठीक है। Okay, whether the charter or the agent sign charter party bills of lading, the name of master must always be on the documents. It is incorrect. To comply with credit requirements of documents to clean on board, Article 27. Transport document no longer need to include the word clean also. So this is true again. The name of the carrier is no longer required to be listed on chartered party or bill. It is true. All the transport document must state the name of carrier and bear the signature of the carrier and all. So it is like contradicting each others. I just want to check this question. ठीक है. So see, हाँ, this is incorrect, but these two statements एक बार देख लेते हैं, ठीक है. The name of the master must be always on charter party letting, whether this option charter or the agent according to option C. This assertion, however, is untrue. The original content material state that master names on charter bill of lading is not necessary. That is fine. The name of the carrier is no. अच्छा अच्छा अच्छा, ओके, हाँ, अब नाउ आई गॉट दिस। चार्टर पार्टी बिल ऑफ लेडिंग पे इसका जरूरत नहीं है, रिमेंबर, हाँ, दिस इज नेम ऑफ द कैरियर एंड bear the signature of the carrier designated by agent on this, ठीक है। So this is the totally two different one, right? Now I got this. चलो, which party is in charge of providing clear and comprehensive instructions for issuing LC and protecting bank from any legal responsibilities imposed by other country, ठीक है। तो अगर जैसे आपका कोई भी ऐसे एलसी के during that contract, if there is something some changes are made by the seller country or other side, और उसकी वजह से अगर कोई नुकसान होता है, if there is any losses, so that losses or everything is borne by applicant itself, ठीक है। सो कौन आपका यहाँ पे रिस्पॉन्सिबल होगा, एप्लीकेंट, ठीक है। सो प्रोवाइडिंग क्लियर एंड कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव इंस्ट्रक्शंस फॉर इशूइंग ऑफ लेटर ऑफ क्रेडिट, पहला। Protecting bank from any legal responsibility imposed by other countries, so this is the done by the applicant itself. So option C will be correct answer for this one, okay? The applicant supply exact comprehensive instructions for the LC. This prevent misunderstanding and guarantees that the LC appropriately reflect the parameters of the commercial transaction. The applicant shall defend and reimburse the bank against any liabilities and duties resulting from the potential compliance with फॉरेन लॉज इटसेल्फ, ठीक है। तो हमने अपने बैंक को यहाँ पे ऑलरेडी क्या कर दिया, आपका प्रोटेक्ट कर दिया, ठीक है। नेक्स्ट वन, इंडियाज एक्सपोर्ट ट्रेड इज फैसिलिटेटेड बाय, किसके द्वारा फैसिलिटेट होते हैं आपके, ठीक है। सो इट इज आपका क्या पूछना चाह रहे हैं, अच्छा ओके, हाँ, सो डीजीएफटी, ठीक है। सो डीजीएफटी एंड मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ कॉमर्स, ठीक है, Ministry of Commerce and Industry of Government of India, ठीक है, Ministry of Commerce and Industry, ठीक है। So now we are entering in a new unit. That unit is called आपका हाँ, it is like facilities for exporters and importers. ठीक है, चलो. So India's export rate is facilitated by, so EXIM policies generally get designed through the DGFT, ठीक है, Directorate General of Foreign Trade, ठीक है, and it generally comes under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, right? तो कौन सा है इसमें आपका Directorate General and Foreign Trade, and it is part of Ministry of Commerce and Industry in India. So C will be correct answer. So a government organization called DCFT, Directorate General of Foreign Trade, is an authority of creating and executing India's foreign trade policies. It is regulated by Ministry of Commerce and Industry. The DGFT is the authority of notifying the procedures that must be followed for export commerce in India, if necessary for promoting and controlling the nation's trade related activities. So basically our exim policies get decided by the this organization itself. ठीक है, तो DGFT आपका export trade is regulated by DGFT, which function under this particular one. ठीक है, then RBI आपका, अब यहाँ पे RBI का क्या रोल होता है, that payment and settlement and documentation part is generally get handled through the RBI. ठीक है, तो ये दो आपके, इसके अलावा we have FEMA, और FEMA के ऊपर रूलिंग बॉडी इज RBI. ठीक है, सो इट इज अ एक्ट आपका जिसके थ्रू RBI which generally regulate documentation and payment part in the country, right? देन रेगुलेशन, अगला क्या है आपका इंटरनेशनल आईसीसी आपका, इट इज एन एपेक्स इंटरनेशनल बॉडी विच जनरली डिजाइन गाइडलाइंस फॉर द दैट पेपर वर्क एंड अदर्स. ठीक है, सो कहीं ना कहीं जिससे आपका कॉमन चीजें हो सके. ठीक है, ये पढ़े. ट्रेड ट्रांजेक्शन अक्रॉस द ग्लोब facilitate guide the parties to the trade through their documents. Uniform custom and practices UCP 600, a uniform rule for collection URC 522, uniform rule for demand guarantee 578 and others, they are generally part of. ये अलग टाइम पे आप करेंगे. Foreign Exchange Dealers Association of India, which generally train or we can say generally govern the forex traders or forex entities in the country on behalf of RBI. ठीक है, तो ये कुछ मेजर. अगर हम ट्रेड वाइज स्पेसिफिक बात करते हैं तो आपका तीन मिनिस्ट्रीज, मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ फाइनेंस, मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ कॉमर्स एंड इंडस्ट्री, मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ इलेक्ट्रॉनिक एंड आईटी. ठीक है, तो आरबीआई के आप सॉरी मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ फाइनेंस के अंदर आपका वी हैव आरबीआई, वी हैव सीबीआईसी. ठीक है, सीबीआईसी सेंट्रल बोर्ड ऑफ इनडायरेक्ट टैक्सेस एंड कस्टम. ठीक है, आरबीआई के अंदर वी हैव ऑथराइज्ड डीलर्स कैटेगरी 1, कैटेगरी 2 एंड कैटेगरी 3 एज वेल एज एफएफएमसीज. हियर वी हैव डीजीएफटी, आपका डायरेक्टर जनरल ऑफ फॉरेन ट्रेड. एसईपीसी फॉर सर्विसेज, आपका सर्विसेज के लिए आपका सर्विस एक्सपोर्ट प्रमोशन काउंसिल. एंड एसटीपीआई फॉर योर सॉफ्टवेयर टेक्नोलॉजी पार्क इन द कंट्री. ठीक है, तो ये these are the major entities, ministries, organizations, they are generally involved in the, which generally regulate and supervise the entire foreign trade in the country itself. ठीक है, चलो आगे बढ़ते हैं. Okay, just go through this particular one. I'll take a break of just 5 minutes. I'll continue this particular one. Huh? Hello, hello, hello. So let's move to the next question, guys. So please quickly go through this. So authorized dealers can accept advances, remittances for import of goods up to dash USD or its equivalents after verifying transaction nature of trade and suppliers standing amounts among other things. So what is the limit? So it is 2 lakh US dollar. Okay. So what will be your correct answer? 2 lakh US dollar. Okay. So please quickly go through this. So this is again important one. So these kind of things you need to remember. Okay. तो कई बार क्वेश्चन विदाउट ऑप्शंस या अदर्स जहाँ पे आपको ये देखने के लिए मिल सकते हैं. Done. चलो next one. Under the export bill rediscounting EBR plan, pre-shipment credit may last for how many days? So EBR. So we have pre-shipment and post-shipment credit facilities for the exporters. So it is about the pre-shipment, which is export bill rediscounting, and which is these kind of amounts or loan are generally used for the, they are also known as packaging loan, packing loan. Okay, so it is something packing loan are generally for kind of the preparation of that export and all, and these are generally for how many days? 90 days from the date of shipments. Okay, or before the date of shipment, sorry. Okay, so 90 days before the date of shipments. So under the EBR program, pre-shipment credit may last up to 90 days. This indicate that the exporter may only borrow money from bank up to 90 days before the shipment of product. A large number of exporters need this length of time to find raw material, manufacturing goods, and prepare the product for transportation. The length of the maximum shipments of credit period is how many days? 90 days. If exporter were permitted to borrow money for an extended amount of time, the risk would rise and it would be difficult for them to repay the loan also. Okay? So that's why the days limit is 90 days only, right? So export finance, we have two type of facilities: pre-shipment, before the shipments, and after the shipment, which is post shipments. Okay, so the RBI introduced a scheme for export financing in 1976. The scheme is intended to make short-term working capital finance available to exporters at internationally comparable interest rate. Export credit is available both in rupee as well as in foreign currency. So we have two type of facilities: pre-shipments and post-shipments advances. So in case of RBI permitted bank to allow banking credit as well as post-shipments advances to exporters in rupee and this thing. So in case of pre-shipment, we have packing credit loans, export packing credit, and advance against receivables like duty drawbacks and all. So pre-shipments or packing credit loans is essentially a working capital advance allowed for the specific purpose like procuring, processing, manufacturing of goods meant for export. It could cover all costs prior to shipments of finished goods like packing, local transportation, labor charges, and all. Okay. Post shipments is generally finance is essential and advance against receivables, which are in the form of exports. Post shipment finance involve handling of export documents, sending the document to the foreign banks, and collecting the funds thereof. Okay, so here we have like factoring and forfeiting services, which are generally provided by bank nowadays, right? So advances against bill sent on collection, advances against export on consignment basis, advances against drawn balances, undrawn balances, and advances against duty drawback. So these are the areas. Next one, what is the difference? What differentiate export credit insurance from financing for export bills? So while if you talk about the while export credit insurance is an example of long-term insurance that serve as to protect exporter from the risk of non-payment by the buyers. Export financing is a form of short-term financing used to fund manufacturing and shipment of goods. True. First only the correct one. Okay. So okay. Bank provide export bill financing while specialized insurance firms they provide the credit insurance team. As the exporters still accountable for the loan compensation even if buyer does not pay. Export bill financing is more dangerous kind of financing than the export credit insurance. Okay. So these all statements are correct about this particular one, right? So okay, now quickly go through this particular one. Then, so a letter of credit need an exporter to provide documentations for negotiation. Among the papers is a bill of ladings. Among the paper is a bill of lading that is important, improperly stamped, signed, and dated. Despite the mismatch, the exporter asks the bank to negotiate the paperwork. What course of action should the bank adopt in this particular situation? Negotiate the document in exchange for an exporter identification. Contact the beneficiary bank and negotiate the document in reverse. Refuse the negotiate the documents, obtain LC opening bank permission to negotiate the paperwork despite the inconsistency. So negotiate the document in exchange. So option D should be right. C, okay. This is the clear cut case of refusal, right? Sorry. So refuse to negotiate the documents if these things are not properly as per the given format and all, right? So a letter of credit include the bill of lading as a crucial document. It is document that attest to the items, shipments, and the condition of the transportations. The bill of lading is not a legal document, and the bank is unable to negotiate the documents if it is not properly signed dated this. Despite the mismatch, the exporter may ask the bank to negotiate the paperwork. The bank is not required to do anything though. Only a contract that abide by the letter of credit condition must be negotiated by the bank. In this instance, the letter of credit conditions are not met by the bill of lading. So the bank must therefore decline the negotiate the documents itself, right? So these are the statements or consequences, right? Next one. Which of the following is not a prerequisite of authorized dealers must satisfy to allow a refund of export proceed? So ensure that all procedures as applicable to special import are adhered to and the necessary approvals are approved from Exim Bank. Exim Bank, no, this is wrong one. Okay. To prove the that no incentive have been taken advantage of the exporter must get certificate from the DCFT or custom authorities. Within 3 months of the date of the remittance, the exporter must commit to re-importing the item. The exporter need a good track records of exporting. Okay? So which of the following is not a prerequisite? So A only will be the right answer for this particular one. Okay? Or rest all are fine with this particular one. Okay? So these all are true, and A is like it is approval obtained from RBI is not EXIM is not required in that particular situation. Okay? So prerequisite that an authorized dealer satisfied to allow refund of export proceed. First one is exercise due diligence regarding the track records of the exporters, verify bona fides of the transactions. Bona fide of transaction means we are using for the uh, we are using that money for the right purpose, or as per the trade regulation, obtained from the exporter a certificate issued by DGFT custom authorities that no incentive have been availed by the exporters against the relevant export, if any relevant export have been surrendered. Obtain an undertaking from the exporter that the goods will be re-imported within 3 months from the date of remittance. Ensure that all procedures are applicable to normal import are adhered to, right? So these are the major prerequisites which are generally required. Sometimes you'll see question based on these kind of statement also. Okay. Each of the following is a difference between factoring and forfeiting except so like you have given four statement and one is incorrect about the major differences between factoring and forfeiting. So factoring is kind of an open account basis transaction where bank they generally work as a factor and they discount बिल अराउंड 80 to 85%, ठीक है. सो फैक्टरिंग में आपका बैंक एज अ फैक्टर काम करता है एंड उस पर्टिकुलर और स्पेसिफिक एक्सपोर्टर के जितने भी एक्सपोर्ट ट्रांजेक्शन है दे आर जनरली हैंडल थ्रू दैट ओपन अकाउंट. इन केस ऑफ फोरफिटिंग इट इज काइंड ऑफ अ वन टाइम ट्रांजेक्शन, ठीक है, जहाँ पे 100% आपका बिल रीडिस्काउंट किया जाता है, ठीक है. अदर लाइक इन बोथ द केसेस अकाउंट्स दैट जो आपके उस अकाउंट के जो लेजर है दैट इज जनरली मैनेज बाय द बैंक इटसेल्फ, ठीक है. यहाँ पे फाइनेंशियर हम लोग यूज करते हैं इन केस ऑफ फोरफिटिंग, ठीक है. So factoring is a short-term transaction, whereas forfeiting is a medium to long-term. Fact, this is true. We have to find out the incorrect one. Factoring can done with or without recourse, although forfeiting is usually done without recourse. With or without recourse means आपका कोलेटरल विदाउट कोलेटरल, और यहाँ पे जैसे यहाँ पे क्योंकि 80-85% ही इसीलिए जाता है, द रिमेनिंग इज दैट जनरली वर्क एंड गारंटी की जरूरत पड़ सकती है या नहीं भी पड़ सकती है. इट इज forfeiting is always backed by the LC, so there is no guarantee is required. Okay? So this is also true. Factoring is only applicable to foreign transactions, but forfeiting is applicable to both domestic and international transactions. This should be reversed. Okay? Forfeiting is only applicable to आपका forfeiting is only applicable to आपका foreign transaction and factoring is applicable to both. So this will be a right answer. Factoring is appropriate for ongoing open account sales, true, that are not backed by LC or accepted by bill of exchange, whereas forfeiting is appropriate for one-time transaction that is backed by LC or approved by the bill of exchange. So C will be correct answer because it is incorrect regarding factoring and forfeiting. ठीक है, काफी डिटेल में हमने इसको आपका डिस्कस किया हुआ है, ठीक है. सो इसीलिए मैं आपको बोलता हूँ कि कॉन्सेप्ट अगर आपने पढ़ लिया तो आप ये क्वेश्चन आसानी से सॉल्व कर पाएंगे, ठीक है. To pay for one-time transaction that is backed by an LC, an exporter is seeking funding option. तो अगर one time transaction है, so it is they are talking about forfeiting, ठीक है. The supplier does not want to have do all their business through the financial company and want to mitigate the risk of default. Which of the following service will be the helpful? So answer will be forfeiting, ठीक है. Next one. So forfeiting, generally here we have these kind of benefits. They take away political and commercial risk associated with export receivables, make available 100% finance against the invoice drawn, freedom from credit administration, cost saving on export credit insurance beside related paperwork, fixed rate financing. So these are generally the features of your forfeiting things. Okay? Dash is a system which where the exporter and importer decide to have a common factor with office branches in both countries to speed up process and reduce cost. So what is it called? It is single factor system. It is generally known as single factor system. Okay, a single factor system is one in which the exporter and importer agree to share the same factor with office branches in both countries to expedite and minimize the expenses. What is the eligibility to open diamond dollar account, DDA? So diamond dollar accounts is generally for the value diamond exporters. ठीक है, वो like see, first you have to understand the diamond business. So how it generally work. So for how basically what we do, these diamond jewelers or dealers, they generally import raw diamonds. ठीक है, then they form it in different jewelries and all, then they export it. That means they have to do number of transactions. ठीक है, तो वो मतलब उनका इम्पोर्ट एक्सपोर्ट चलता रहता है. सो उस ये बहुत सारे ट्रांजेक्शन्स को मैनेज करने के लिए हमने उनके लिए एक स्पेशल अकाउंट आपका ऑफर किया है, दैट इज कॉल्ड डीडीए. ठीक है, डायमंड डॉलर अकाउंट्स. ठीक है, बट उसके लिए कुछ एलिजिबिलिटीज आपकी होती हैं, जैसे 3 करोड़ से ऊपर का टर्नओवर होना चाहिए, 2 साल या 3 साल से आप सिस्टम में होने चाहिए, ये दीज काइंड ऑफ द एरियाज. ठीक है, सो एक्सपोर्ट इम्पोर्टर डीलिंग इन रॉ एंड पॉलिश डायमंड और डायमंड स्टडड ज्वेलरी. ट्रू. Exporter importer should have a track record of last 2 years in import exporter of diamonds and all. ठीक है, एवरेज एनुअल टर्नओवर शुड बी 3 करोड़ एंड अबव. ठीक है, सो ये सारे ही क्या है हमारे आपके सही है. ठीक है, सो प्लीज लास्ट ईयर देयर वाज वन क्वेश्चन बेस्ड ऑन दिस पर्टिकुलर क्वेश्चन इटसेल्फ. ठीक है, सो प्लीज डू रिमेंबर दिस वन आल्सो. Next one, which of the following is our advantages of exporters gold card scheme? ठीक है, so these are gold card scheme आपका. ठीक है, every bank they have their gold card scheme for the value exporters. ऐसे exporters जिनका credit worthiness काफी अच्छा है. ठीक है, so it is totally linked with their credit worthiness and these are the value exporters from the country. तो उनको आपका एडिशनल फीचर की तरह कि जैसे एक कार्ड फैसिलिटी उनको मिलेगा एंड where they'll have a like let's say sometime they need 20% above of that particular card. जैसे कि उसमें आपका सपोज दैट $1 million का उसको दिया गया. ठीक है, अगर उसको आपका 0.20 million एडिशनल आपका चाहिए फॉर द एक्सपोर्ट थिंग्स एंड ऑल इम्पोर्ट थिंग्स, तो ही कैन यूज दैट पर्टिकुलर 20% अबव तक आपका वो ड्रॉ डाउन कर सकते हैं. या आपका जो इंटरेस्ट रेट होगा दैट विल बी लेसर कंपेयर टू द नॉर्मल मार्केट रेट बिकॉज दे आर वैल्यू कस्टमर्स इन द मार्केट. ठीक है, सो a standby limit of at least 20% of the SS limit is made available to help with sudden orders that require urgent credit. True. Bank may consider waiver of collateral and exemption from ECGC insurance and waiving collateral requirement based on the credit worthiness and track records. The applicable interest rate under the gold card scheme will not be higher than the bank standard rate. The issuing bank may decide to provide customer the option of adding more value to the customers. जैसे आपका ATM, internet banking and all these. So these all are true about the DDA or diamond dollar accounts. ठीक है, so please do remember this one, again very important one. Yeah, so I'll mark homework and start here, so जिससे आपको थोड़ा सा ये याद रहेगा. ठीक है, so please do take care about these things. Next one, ECB proceed cannot be utilized for which of the following activities? So external commercial borrowing. Next unit. So ECB proceed means, let's say कोई कंपनी आपका दे जनरली रेज फंड्स फ्रॉम आउटसाइड इंडिया एंड दे कैन नॉट यूज दैट मनी इन विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग एरियाज. तो कहाँ पे नहीं कर सकते? रियल एस्टेट, इक्विटी इन्वेस्टमेंट और आपका इन्वेस्टमेंट इन कैपिटल मार्केट. ठीक है, सो दीज देयर आर सम एरियाज which are restricted for the ECB proceed. Okay? So if companies they are raising funds through external commercial borrowing, that means they are raising funds from outside India. So they cannot use that particular money for these particular purposes, right? Real estate activities, investment in capital market, equity investment, working capital purpose. See, working capital purpose, general corporate purpose, or repayment of rupee loan. They cannot use for these one. They can use if they have a foreign equity partners in their company. ठीक है, तो इन तीनों के लिए भी नॉर्मल कंपनीज यूज नहीं कर सकते. कर सकते हैं कब? जब उनके पास कोई फॉरेन इक्विटी पार्टनर्स आपका उसमें होगा. ठीक है, अगेन चलो. So ECB is subject regulatory oversight of RBI, which set limit on amounts of ECB in Indian companies. Usually it is how much? 750 million US dollar per financial year. So financial year limit is this. For a startup के लिए कितना है ये आपका? ठीक है, startup के लिए it is 3 million US dollar per financial year. ठीक है, so startup they can raise up to 3 million US dollar, and other companies they can raise up to 750 million US dollar. Okay? Companies must also meet certain eligibility criteria in order to access ECB, such as minimum credit rating and debt to equity ratios. So we have two route for ECB, automatic route and approval route. Okay, so how they generally work? So in case of your automatic route, so let's say company, there is a company. So company they just need to approach authorized dealers, category 1 banks, and if their business is involved in approved route, okay, so after fulfilling the requirements and all, the authorized dealer will allow them and help them to raise that particular one. If parameter prescribed under the framework have been compiled with approved compiled with approach authorized dealer category 1 bank with proposal of form ECB, ठीक है. So there is a form called form ECB, ठीक है. यहाँ पे आपका सेम रूट होगा, ठीक है. कंपनीज they'll approach to authorized dealers category 1 bank, then they'll pass on this application to RBI, ठीक है. So RBI, it is subject matter of RBI approvals, ठीक है. RBI वहाँ पे चाहे उनको disapprove भी कर सकता है. Borrower may approach RBI. May approach RBI means they'll not directly go to RBI. The route will be authorized dealers, but the final sanctioning will be done by RBI itself, ठीक है. Application in prescribed format form ECB, RBI shall grant approvals based on this particular one. And even there is one another thing called LRN, ठीक है. So loan registration number, which companies they need to take, and that is again provided by RBI itself, right? A startup can raise ECB maximum up to, so how much? 3 million US dollar. Okay. So this is the limit for startups in the country. So under automatic route method, all qualifying borrowers can raise ECB up to 750 million US dollar or equivalents per financial year. Entities designated as a startup, they can raise up to 3 million US dollars. So please do remember both the one. Equivalent means if they are raising in some other country, so it should be equal to 750 million US dollar. That is the upper limit maximum. What is the maximum period that a borrower can avail a reporting delay by paying a late submission fee in conformity with the reporting requirement of ECB? So there is like it can be like many years, okay, if you are paying that late submission fee and all, right? So beyond so here we have 3 years, so this option D will be right answer for this one, okay? It can be beyond 3 years also, right? So but the only requirement is you have to pay the late submission fee in that particular one, okay? That is the earning for the government. How often can a corporate in manufacturing industry issue ECB with 1 year minimum average maturity period? So what will be your correct answer? When the ECB is utilized for working capital purpose or general purpose? No. When ECB is raised from foreign equity holder and utilized for working, it can be. When ECB is utilized for repayment route, when ECB is utilized for no. So option B should be right answer for this particular one. Okay. So this question is generally based on minimum average maturity period. Very, very important one. Okay. So I'll show you the entire chart also, but before this. So if the ECB is, we will directly come to the chart itself. Okay. So minimum average maturity period, again this is your homework also. So please do take care about this, guys. Very, very important one. Okay. So minimum average maturity period will be 3 years. In general condition, if they ask you what is the minimum average maturity period for ECB, so the answer will be 3 years. Okay. Even including startups. Now the condition is manufacturing sector companies may raise ECB up to 1 year. The limit is 50 million US dollar or equivalents per financial year. Okay? So manufacturing companies, basically this is kind of we want to boost the manufacturing companies. So government they allow key manufacturing companies they can raise ECB up to 50 million US dollar, where the maturity minimum average maturity period can be 1 year. Okay? So this is like minimum average maturity period means that repayment commitments done by the borrowing company, right? So if ECB is raised from foreign equity holders and utilized for working capital purpose or general corporate purpose or repayment of rupee loan, especially for domestic domestically for purpose other than capital expenditure, so it will be 5 year. If ECB is utilized for working capital purpose or general corporate purpose, so it is 10 years. If ECB is utilized for repayment of rupee loan availed domestically for capital, 7 years, or non-capital 10 years. Okay? So 7 years, 10 years. Startups, again minimum average maturity period will be how many years? 3 years. Okay? So in general, 3 years. Okay? Manufacturing companies, they can raise funds through ECB with a minimum average maturity period of 1 years, but the limit is 50 million US dollar. Okay. In another cases where we have foreign equity partners and we want to use that money for general corporate purpose or repayment of domestic loan, 5 years. We do not have that particular one. So for capital expenditure, 7 years. For general purpose, it is non-capital, it is 10 years. Okay. Startup, it is again 3 years. Okay. So please, this is very, very, very important one. So you do remember this particular one. Okay. So again, this is a kind of homework things. Okay. So try to remember this one. Right. Next one. What is the minimum average maturity period? External commercial borrowing are used for working capital or general corporate purpose. So what will be our correct answer? There is no if and but condition. So straightforward your answer will be 10 years. Right. So this is the one. Next one. We just gone through this. ECB borrowers are allowed to park ECB proceed in term deposit with authorized dealers category 1 bank in India for a maximum period of 18 months. Okay? So what will be 18 months or 12? 12 months, sorry. Okay? It should be 12 months. ठीक है, so it will be 12 months. ठीक है, so 12 months means 1 year, right? So let's say कोई कंपनी आपका जिसने ECB के थ्रू फंड्स रेज किया, ठीक है, so अभी वो उसको यूज नहीं करें, so they can park that money with authorized dealers bank and they can earn interest on that particular one, but they can hold that particular one maximum for 1 year. ठीक है, ये 12 months आपका. ठीक है, so borrowers of ECB are permitted to store ECB proceed in a deposit with authorized dealers category 1 bank in India for a maximum period of 12 months. These term deposits should be kept free and cleared. Free and clear means unencumbered. So there should be no legal obligation against those particular deposit. Okay? Which of the following claim about ECB is valid? So only resident entities in India, Indian rupee, may issue ECB. ECB is always get issued in apart from Indian rupee. Only in Indian, sorry. So ECB can be in INR or आपका foreign currency denominated. Sorry. Only Indian rupee may be used for foreign currency denominated. No. ECB with INR denominated are supported by currencies that are readily convertible. This can be bank loan and trade credit aging more than 3 years may be included in ECB denomination, foreign currency or INR. Okay? So D is the right answer. ECB with INR denomination are supported by currencies that are readily okay. INR denomination है तो इसका conversion required नहीं होना चाहिए था, sorry. ठीक है, तो एक बार इसको देख लेते हैं आपका. So ECB document denomination in foreign currency and INR. ठीक है, so ECB like that means companies they can raise ECB through it can be in INR denominated or foreign currency. ठीक है, so bank loan and trade credits with more than 3 years of age. This 3 year of age means that minimum time duration or minimum average maturity period in general आपका. ठीक है, this means the both form of ECB may include long-term bank loan and trade credits regardless of whether they are valid in foreign currency or in INR. This give entities the freedom to engage the financial market or borrow locally based on their preferences and need when sourcing cash from medium to long term finance. Okay? So we have foreign currency denominated as well, or it can be INR. Most of the time it is foreign currency denominated. That means इसका मतलब क्या होगा, simple सा. So let's say if there is a company who is issuing a bonds in foreign currency. There is a XYZ Indian company. जिसने आपका यूएस में बॉन्ड इश्यू किए वहां के डॉलर में. सो दिस इज फॉरेन करेंसी. दैट मीन्स दे आर रेजिंग फंड्स इन द लोकल करेंसी ऑफ दैट पर्टिकुलर कंट्री जहां पे भी वो लोग इश्यू करें. ठीक है. अनदर केस इज देयर इज अ कंपनी एक्स हु इज इशूइंग बॉन्ड्स. इसने भी बॉन्ड इश्यू किए कहाँ पे, यूएस में, बट इन्होंने इश्यू किया किसमें, आपका आईएनआर में. ठीक है. व्हेन दे आर बोरोविंग मनी फ्रॉम द इन्वेस्टर्स, they are borrowing in INR. That means investor, they have to convert their money into INR first. In this case, company will convert this dollar to INR. ठीक है. तो इस तरीके से आपका जो रहेगा. So foreign currency denominated ECB can be any freely convertible foreign currency and include bank loan, floating, fixed notes, this thing. Simply आपका INR denominated ECB which include bank loan, this and this आपका. ठीक है. तो मतलब while we are raising that funds, we are deciding the denomination. It will be INR denominated और आपका the local currency of that particular country. ठीक है. Mostly it is foreign currency, but like जैसे मसाला बॉन्ड थे, that was the that is a perfect example of this INR denominated. ठीक है. तो जब SDFC ने वो इश्यू करे तो वो INR में इश्यू करे. ठीक है. तो उससे कहीं ना कहीं जो हमारी लोकल करेंसी है उसको भी आपका सपोर्ट मिलेगा. ठीक है. तो गाइस आज मैं आपका यहीं तक कर पाऊंगा. ठीक है. 99 स्लाइड आर ओवर. so there are few questions are remaining, so I'll share this PDF as it is. ठीक है. तो अभी भी मैं आप सबको एक ही रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा, प्लीज डू वॉच दोज फाउंडेशन वीडियोस. ठीक है. इफ यू हैव मिस्ड. एंड इसके अलावा भी मैंने बहुत सारे MCQs के सेशन भी आपके किए हुए हैं चैनल पे. ठीक है. सो यू कैन वॉच दोज पर्टिकुलर वीडियोज ऑल्सो. दे आर डेफिनेटली गोइंग टू हेल्प यू आउट, राइट. तो इस तरीके से आपका अपन रेगुलर बेसिस पे चीज़ों को करते रहेंगे. ठीक है. देयर इज वन 12 आवर वीडियो ऑल्सो. तो कॉन्सेप्ट एंड देन 12 आवर वीडियो, अगर आप ये सब देख लेते हैं ना, सो दैट इज डेफिनेटली गोइंग टू हेल्प यू आउट. ठीक है. तो आज के लिए इतना ही करेंगे. द रिमेनिंग यूनिट्स वी विल बी कवरिंग इन आवर नेक्स्ट सेशन. ठीक है. तो इस तरीके से आपका एक रिविजन होता रहेगा. तो कल हम लोग आपका जो बचे हुए सारे यूनिट्स हैं उनको कंप्लीट कर लेंगे मॉड्यूल के. देन बी आपका अगेन 2 सेशन फॉर बी, एंड देन आपका सी के लिए 1 सेशन एंड डी के लिए 1 सेशन. ठीक है. तो इस तरीके से हम लोग आपका रखेंगे जिससे विद इन दिस वीक विल बी एबल टू कवर द एंटायर 4 मॉड्यूल्स. ठीक है. देन साइमल्टेनियसली आई विल कम अप विद द दैट केस स्टडीज एंड आपका जो क्वेश्चन विदाउट ऑप्शन है वाले सेशन. ठीक है. तो इस तरीके से you'll have a good bang till your examination. Okay. So and if you are facing any challenges, please do let me know through the comment section. And one another request, guys, PDF I'm sharing on regular basis on Telegram. Apart from these particular one, I have uploaded on our application also. ठीक है. तो application के through भी आप जा सकते हैं, सारे PDF को access कर सकते हैं. ठीक है. चलो. So this is it from my side. Thank you for joining this session. Thank you for watching this session. Bye bye. Take care all. Have a nice day. I'll see you tomorrow, guys. Thank you.